thing comes in, I believe. Because work, all we did was lift the heavy shit for her.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's just heavy stuff. She took all the boxes over.
What were you lifting?
Like dressers,
Like big
beds. Oh yeah, dude,
two guys stuff.
Oh yeah, it was all two guy stuff. Everything in the, dude, her king mattress was the heaviest thing on the truck.
Yeah.
It was a beast, dude.
Mattresses are tough because you gotta like that bend factor. The bend factor is real. And
they're just like some of them are so freaking dense. Like that's what it comes down to, just the absolute density.
When you get like those foam, like memory foam ones, those suck. And we're here, episode 4, Ryan Fowler. Not for TV podcast. How we doing today?
Pretty good.
Just got off. Did you see that clip on Fortnite, on Snapchat of that guy that tried to save the other guy? That was down in
I think I was watching it in the middle. Yeah, I think the no skin thing.
What's the name? What's the name of the part of the map that they renovate? Like
just Dusty Divot.
No. The one now that's like the desert. It's
Paradise Palms.
If you pull up the map, it's in the bottom right-hand corner, and
Paradise
like everything's
Palms.
green and it's just desert.
Paradise Palms.
And it's on the edge. And have you seen this clip?
No.
So this guy is playing, and he's right on the like they're right on the edge, and he kills some guy, and he goes over to get the what's it called, the ATK, and he looks down at the bottom, and there's like a little bit of beach there, and there's some guy down there, and like the guy must have not had any building materials, so he couldn't get back up. So this guy was like, I don't know why. Knowing you probably would have just, or me, like just
I would have left him.
Been throwing nades.
That's the Fortnite community, though. Everyone's different.
Yeah, it is. So this guy decides he's gonna, like, obviously the guy at the bottom doesn't have any building materials to get back up. So the guy up top decides he was gonna go down and save this guy, right? So he starts building down. Okay, building down. He gets down, and at a certain point, probably like, if you built a vertical wall, probably like 2 or 3 walls up, there's a limit of building, I guess. So he had to stop, like couldn't build anymore to get down to this guy. So then he decides the ATK, I guess apparently, which I didn't know, you can use the roof as a trampoline. So his plan was to get the ATK down to this guy at the beach at the bottom. So, and like get it on the beach
and
so he could bounce up, and then they could go up the stairs together. What they were planning to do after that, I have no idea, but that was the plan. So he comes back up his stairs that he built, gets the ATK, starts down. He goes like down 2 levels of the stairs, and then comes off the stairs and starts sliding down the cliff. Slides down, hits the beach, and the guy that was down on the beach jumps in front of the ATK. It hits him and just poof, into the water, and he dies. And the whole thing was just in vain. And I was like,
that's hilarious.
And it was probably like, they had, you know how they have that stuff on Snapchat. The whole thing was probably like a 2-minute sequence, and it was just like, oh my lord. That had me dying though.
That is funny as fuck.
But yeah, it's weird that like in the community they would do like.
I would have left him, because like that's the reason he was probably down there. He probably didn't jump from the bus, and like when you go far enough, and you don't jump, your bus just forces you out. And he probably just floated straight down to that location.
It could have been. I mean, there was.
I've done that before.
The thing was though, like he could have been fighting that guy, the original guy that the one guy killed, and they ended up actually getting commentary from the guys, and like they were talking about it and everything. So it was actually pretty cool.
That is funny,
dude. That game is something else.
No, it is, dude. It's taking over the world.
That thing took like Jules and Fortnite are the fucking millennial thing right now.
Fortnite's the iPhone of video games, and Jules is the iPhone of vaping.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. That game's crazy. I tell you every time how it's just like, I every time I play that game, something about it just fucking like, I just sit there and I'm like, what am I doing right now? What? I feel like I was born in like the 50s, just looking at this like a parent and being like amazed like a little kid. Like, wow.
My dad, that's how my dad is. Because he was born in the 50s.
Has he played it at all?
No, but he's watched me and he's like, the hell are you doing?
That's what, like, I originally said to you, I like watching probably just as much, if not more, than playing. I don't know why. Like, I see when I watch Fortnite, I've said this before, when I watch Fortnite, I'm like, well, he's playing,
and he's getting kills. I want to go play and get kills now.
Yeah.
And it's more fun to play for me.
After since you and I, it's been probably like a couple weeks that I started gaming with you.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I'm with you, the more I have that sentiment. Like, I don't get me wrong, I still love watching, but I'll watch a couple games and be like, oh, let me see if I can get a headshot or something like that. The fucking
Exactly.
You mob deep with I can't mob with shotguns. I don't know what it is.
Shotguns suck now.
And I was thinking, it's crazy how that game, first of all, is free, and then they're having all these updates, and it's constantly changing, and it's such a dynamic game.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty unbelievable, the fact that they do it all off, a free platform.
Mm-hmm. And they're just constantly, they listen to the community, too, a lot with, feedback and stuff like that on guns and damage output, especially the pro players like Ninja and stuff like that. They definitely listen to his feedback on, when the double pump was in and it was too powerful, they took it out and they brought it back and made it a little bit worse, and now it's completely out of the game. And
really?
Yeah, so they like you said, they just keep updating and playing with different shotguns now. Shotguns in the beginning of Fortnite were they were probably the best gun in the game, because they were one shot to the head every time, dead. And it was a close range weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So, you could get lucky with a headshot, or if you were really good, you could win almost every gunfight. You just pop them right in the head.
Yeah, because you knew exactly where you were hitting.
Exactly. Now shotguns do a lot more, there's no more one shots to the head. So.
I know, I figured that out. Because in my mind, obviously it's a shotgun, so it's close range, but, if I'm in a certain range, my video game logic that I've learned is if you're in a certain range and pop them in the head, they should be done.
Yeah, and that's where you got to separate kind of our world from the video game world a little bit, because you ever see the Family Guy episode where they do Jackass on Peter Griffin?
No.
This is Jackass, and every time they do it, they get severe injuries. Beyond the one they shop I'm Peter Griffin, and
shopping cart on the roof, right?
This is shopping cart roof shopping cart.
Yeah, he doesn't know what to say.
Yeah,
shopping cart roof shopping cart.
He goes down and he gets up and he's like and his freaking neck, there's mountains on his neck. It's
his head's literally turned 180 degrees and he's touching it. What is he saying? He's like, oh my gosh. Something so Family Guy to the T.
And the reason they started doing, because they were at the beginning of the episode, they were watching Jackass, and it's Family Guy, so Johnny Knoxville's like, I'm Johnny Knoxville, and this is shotgun to the face. he just turns and pops his shotgun, shoots his skin off, and it's just a skeleton, and he's just jumping around. Oh shit, that hurt hard.
Almost like he just skid his knee or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that.
And it's just and they were like, yo, we can do that better. And
that show, if you had to pick one, Family Guy or South Park?
For what? Just to watch? Or it's funnier?
What other options? Oh. What? I guess both.
Probably watch Family Guy, because in the beginning, Family Guy was better than South Park. South Park is just, beyond humorous. It's just, sometimes it's wow, they're really making fun of that.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know. They're both shows that parents obviously disapprove of kids at a young age.
Dude, because when I first started watching Family Guy, it was in 6th grade. Yeah, because I came over in 5th, and then first year of middle school was 6th, and for so long, for not even just Family Guy, but anything. If we're watching TV and Dad's not in the room, as soon as he came in, it was just change the channel.
Yeah.
My dad would be on us for that. So I didn't start watching it until probably 6th grade. But South Park, to me, what you were talking about, the level of where they go is just
It's funny sometimes, but it's wow.
Yeah.
They get away with that. And my dad, every time I bring up South Park and how, it's just, really, wow. And then because they're, Matt Stone and Trey Parker, the creators of South Park, are also the creators of Beavis and Butthead.
Okay.
And Beavis and Butthead was one of those shows that actually got canceled because of parent outlash. And the reason why is because it aired at, 6:30 at night. You know, when all these little kids were awake. So and Beavis, like the one kid, I don't know which one. It might have been maybe Beavis. He always was like fire, fire, on a fire, and so they would just light shit on fire all the time. And it was South Park. It was literally South Park with just two kids.
Yeah.
And then that show got canceled. They created South Park, and South Park got a time slot of 10:30 and is in its 21st season.
Dude, they grind.
And there's a funny article about them. They said in the beginning of South Park they didn't know how long it was gonna last, so they accepted every single deal that came across their desk. Like every single promotional thing that came across, they did. Movies, everything. You ever see Basketball?
Yeah.
That's them.
Yeah, it is. I never connected that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right.
It came out in like the late 90s. They did the South Park movie, and then South Park just exploded in popularity.
Yeah, it did.
And did you ever see the video of them on acid at the Oscars?
Yeah, when they came in dresses.
And the whole point was to never even talk about the dresses.
Yeah,
never,
like just be there like they were in suits or
mm-hmm.
something.
Be there like normal people, and that's hilarious. Like
that was my problem with the show is that show is just like how brash they are, and it's like in my opinion, it's obviously my opinion. You know, to each his own. If you watch it, I don't judge, but in my opinion, it just like that humor is almost like too offensive for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't get me wrong, comedy and humor, there's an element to it of like fuck you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like there's an element of like humor, undisputably, that is like, you know, kind of picking at roasting, picking at someone, but in that good fashion,
in that funny way.
But in my opinion, the reason I don't like it is because they like push that envelope a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do like about it is the fact that how contemporary they are, and how, like, you know, they have fucking Caitlyn Jenner on there, and they're talking about things that are relevant and happening right now. I do like that, but
every time Caitlyn Jenner was driving on South Park, she was running someone over.
Oh my, like that. Like, see, that, to me, that's funny.
Like,
that's funny, but, like...
Every time she drove, because she was the vice president for when Garrison was running for president.
Oh, my
Because they were
Lord.
spoofing Trump, and Caitlyn Jenner was the vice president.
Oh, my
And every
Lord.
time she drove, she just ran someone the fuck over.
See, that's funny, but, like, they get a little bit more, and anything above that,
like,
to me, it's just, like...
What they do with, like, the Trump shit, I was watching the one episode, it was, like, they had Paul Ryan and... maybe the speaker, Paul Ryan is the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan and some other important Secretary of Defense or some guy. And you turn around to Mr. Garrison and he's got his pants dropped with a fucking dildo on, like 2 feet long, ready to fuck Paul Ryan and the Secretary of Defense. Just referencing how, like, Trump had, I don't know, because they probably don't like, because they really, doesn't seem like they like Trump with how much they've made fun of him.
Yeah. See, like that...
Like his hit, like when they hit, like I think it was like the 20th season or something like that when he was running, because I watched that whole season. He freaking because Trump's whole thing was build the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Garrison's was fuck them all to death.
Oh my gosh. See that they give no fucks. That's zero
all.
fucks given.
It is, dude. Like, and they're literally like, what's your, and then they like he's like in a talk show and he's like, so what's your answer for the immigration problem? Fuck them all to death. Just fuck them all straight to death.
I guess part of it too is like that's not quite my humor. Like, that's not up my alley. I get why it's funny. Like, that's funny, but like it's almost just like simple humor. I'm not trying to insult anyone. But like,
no, it is simple humor.
It's just like really base. I always used to say, and I know I'm gonna offend someone, like it's like a dull show for dull minds. Which, like, don't get me wrong, some of the stuff's very intricate and involved. Mm-hmm. But and then the other side of the coin, there is some shit. It's just like a 2-foot dildo. Like, you know what I mean? You know, like, we're Family Guy. Some of the fucking skits they get into, just like, I'll be rolling.
And the flashbacks.
Yeah, I'll be rolling.
Like the Brian and Stewie episodes,
Yep.
The Road to the Multiverse. I was
Yep.
talking about this today. Road to the Multiverse is like last episode of season 8. It's like the best episode, or first episode of season 8.
Well, they have which one? Because there's multiple road to. Oh, okay. Road to Multiverse. Yeah, that's the one.
They parallel dimensions.
They're
and it
going to
starts out
like
with
they
the
go.
pig.
They go in like Disney universe. They go. The one is like literally.
Hey everyone! Oh no, a Jew!
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. So, go ahead. Road to Multiverse.
That's my opinion. Probably the best Family Guy episode that has ever come out.
Really?
Yeah, actually, so Family Guy's had one episode that wasn't allowed to air in the United States.
Interesting.
It's the last episode of season 8. So it's an episode, and so usually like every week when they finish the episode, they submit it to Fox, and Fox reviews it. So if it can get on TV, so they did it with this episode, and Fox said no because of the content. And it was on when Family Guy was on Netflix. It's not on Netflix anymore.
Really? I
It's
didn't
on
know
Hulu.
that.
Hulu bought 20th Century Fox, which is family like Fox. So 20th Century Fox owns 20th Century Fox. Hulu bought something with Fox and 20th Century Fox and got the rights to Family Guy pretty much. So instead of renewing the rights with Netflix, they pretty much just switched to Hulu.
Well, fuck me sideways. I didn't know that. That
Yeah.
sucks.
It does. It really does. I would always rewatch Family Guy, and that episode is one of those episodes where the whole premise is Lois getting an abortion, and it's
Okay.
called Terms of Endearment. And at the beginning of the episode, they're at like an alumni event for Lois, and an old classmate walks up and asks Lois if she can talk and set up a meeting, and because she wants to talk to her about something important. And Peter gets the idea, we're having a three-way. I'm having a three-way.
Oh my god.
And when in reality, the friend wants to ask Lois to be a surrogate for her, so to be a surrogate parent.
Yeah.
And Peter, when Peter finds out, he's like, no, I don't want you pregnant. You're not getting pregnant.
And then he probably said it just like that. No, I don't want you pregnant.
Exactly. You get all fat. Your boobs will get bigger. Wait, how do I feel about this? No, I don't want you pregnant. I say.
See, to me, that just hits it. Like, I can sit there, and this is the one that the band episode.
Well, yeah, it was not allowed to air in the. You should look up the YouTube clip of the episode, or just look up the episode and watch it. Honestly, if you haven't seen it,
That's great.
it's a freaking after we're done here. It's a great episode because it's just super funny. And then what happens is the couple that Lois is being a surrogate for actually like die in like a bus crash or something like that. So the remainder of the episode, Peter is like, at first Peter's like, we're getting an abortion, and they go to the abortion clinic, and Peter like there's activists outside, like why
You're good. You just want to like talk as straight into that screen as you can. So set it up. Yeah, there you go. Go ahead.
So they get to the abortion clinic, and there's activists outside, and they're like Peter. They go inside, and they Peter leaves Lois with the abortionist, and to get an abortion, and
Is that the official name
what?
for the doctor? The abortionist?
Yeah, that's what they call him, an abortionist.
Are you dead serious?
Yeah,
Okay.
an abortionist.
Continue.
Because that's not the first time on Family Guy they've talked about abortions. There was an episode like in season.
Well, to me, it's like they don't call a gynecologist a vaginacologist. So, like, why would the abortionist be an abortionist? Why is there no medical term for it?
Maybe there is. I don't know. That's just what they call it.
Maybe it's just Family Guy being Family Guy.
Yeah, but that's what they call it on the show, abortionist. And
we're gonna fact check here. Continue.
And he goes outside and he starts talking to the activists, and the activists are like, "Do you want to watch this clip as to why? Do you want to see why you shouldn't get an abortion?" And Peter's like, "Yeah, I got some time. My wife's getting an abortion."
that does it.
And so I can't really remember the clip, but they show him a clip, and he leaves. They leave, and he doesn't get the abortion. and because the activist completely changed his mind. So they get home, and Brian goes, "Did you get the abortion?" And Lois goes, "We were," until Peter decided we weren't. Peter goes, "Abortion is killing babies, Brian." Completely changing his mindset based off the activists.
Oh my gosh, see, like, I love Peter Griffin, man. The fuck, his humor and how they set him up is just hilarious. That's
He's
great.
So stupid.
All right, so what do we have here? We can also make reference. I don't know. Alternative titles are more accurate, avoiding the oversimplification of labeling OBGYNs. What do we have? Earlier this week, referred to an here we go. We don't say a physician is an STD doctor or a childbirth doctor or a breast exam doctor. So, as listener Marsha Bryan of Cleveland, objectively, why did a morning edition broadcast earlier this week refer to an obstetrician? There you go. That's your fact for the day, folks. An abortion doctor is known as an obstetrician, if that's how you pronounce it. But that's Ryan Fowler. Ryan Fowler is the not-for-TV tech guru. Dude, you know more about this shit than anyone I know.
I just like researching things, you know.
Oh yeah, me too. But like you go.
I'll just get on like the one time, I remember we were long drive. We were going up to Canada, and I was just on my phone just.
Oh Canada.
It was actually for a soccer tournament, and I've heard that plenty of times. Not even kidding you, and. I was on my phone, and you just go on Wikipedia, you just like search something random on Wikipedia, and you just keep clicking things on Wikipedia, and it just like I ended up like reading about the Ottoman Empire for like 45 minutes, and how, dude, the Ottoman Empire existed until the First World War. Like,
yeah.
It didn't end until like the 1917. Like that's ridiculous. That existed during the Roman times.
That's crazy.
That's a long fucking time.
Dude, Wikipedia is crazy. I will go down a hole any day on Wikipedia, and like
it sucks it can't be used as like a proper source, because it has so much information.
Well, you know how to get around that, right?
No.
Because Wikipedia cites their sources at the bottom of the page.
Oh, true.
For any college students, there you go. At the bottom of the page, like if someone makes an entry, right? They do it like they would be writing a paper. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's just like a list of references.
Yeah, there is. I do know what you're talking about. I never realized. I guess I realized there were references, but I never decided to put the.
Yeah.
Just click on them and.
I was reading. What book was I reading? It was a book about like government and progressivism or something like that. But they were talking about, okay, if we came to you in the 90s, right? And because you know how encyclopedias are a thing, you know, you get like a fucking whatever it is, 30 volume, and you can order them. It was like, if I came to you in the 90s and asked, what's going to be better? You're going to have your normal encyclopedia, your 30 volume edition that you order online and you can have in your home. Or there's this other option, completely free to use, peer edited, so anyone can come on and make an entry, and that will be the encyclopedia. It's free to use, you know. There's leeway, there's editors, but for the most part, anybody can go on and make an entry. What would you think's more popular? And I don't remember exactly what the context of the example was. When you think about it, it's like, yeah, what the fuck? Like, and I could be wrong, but from what I understand, like, Wikipedia is a pretty reliable source. While they may not, while you may not be able to cite it in, like, you know, official college or anything like that, like, it's when you do think about it, it's amazing that you have a community that, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Wikipedia does police some stuff, correct?
Yeah, if there's like I think like when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, like someone edited Tom Brady's father to Nick Foles.
Yeah.
And like that
That's great.
So like that was up for like a day, and then it got fixed because obviously it's not true. But
Yeah.
like,
So,
like shit like that just makes it funny.
but other than that, it's like people will go on because it's, you know what I mean. Like if you know a lot about something that a lot of other people, let's just say Fortnite. Obviously, millions of people know a lot about it. But let's say you go on one. This is my thought process. You go on one because you're passionate about it. You know, like you're passionate about it, and you want to like supply people with that information that's accurate, and that they can take it in and like digest it themselves. So I think that's part of the reason it works. Like where's the fun? I can see where the fun is, like you said, with the Tom Brady thing, or like there was an incident 2 or 3 years ago in baseball when there was a brawl, and this guy, Rugnet Odor, got in a fist fight with Jose Bautista.
Oh, I remember that, and that guy just cleaned him.
Cleaned his clock, and like pretty much just about knocked Bautista on the ground. And kind of like you said with the Brady thing, the next day people went on Wikipedia, and for baseball players they have like bats right, plays, shortstop, throws, and like throws right. And for Rugnet Odor it was like throws, semicolon, a mean right hook. Like, so stuff like that is humorous, but like besides those little quirks and that stuff, who goes on to just like feed false information into that? You know what I mean? So when you think about it, that book is what made me think like, yeah, don't get me wrong, I was born in an age where encyclopedias were dying.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, it's weird to think, okay, this is free, and whoever can go on and one, start a page about anything, and two,
there's a Wikipedia page for everything,
and two, put in what you want about it.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty amazing, and it's a great resource. It's amazing how you can read it like a magazine. Like if you're really interested about something, you spend 10 minutes reading a whole page on like Arctic purple seals or some shit like that.
Fun. I don't know if you know this or not, but Wikipedia, the owners of it, they've actually banned the Church of Scientology from editing any Wikipedia page.
Well, how do they know?
I think they know because they just like the Church of Scientology. If they can edit it, they obviously can edit it. But if they edit it to change something to their viewpoint, if they edit it and change something that's wrong to a fact, they're obviously not going to fix that.
Yeah, they might have like algorithms where it's like buzzwords or
exactly. But if
something comes up,
the Church of Scientology goes on to a page about Jesus Christ, and they start fucking saying that he was like a purple monkey, then like obviously they're gonna do something about that.
Yeah. It's just amazing. I'm interested to see where it's going to be 10, 15 years from now. Because I can't see it going away. I think it might.
I can just see it getting more
morph into something different, maybe on a different platform, or I don't know. I think we might. I don't want to say always, but I think for the foreseeable future, it'll be in the format it is. But like, it's got to lead somewhere else. That's a powerful tool. The amount of information on that website alone is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's crazy to think about how much is out there.
Yeah.
Honestly. Just like, and especially if you ever like delve into the dark web or at all, the dark web at all, it's like for every like one page of the Google page you could pull up, because you have to have a separate client to access the dark web, because you have to be completely anonymous. You just can't go on Google, look up dark web. You have to download a separate thing, and get on, and then you can get on it. For every like one page of like I guess you could say light internet, there's like
the normal web, what people know.
25 million dark web pages.
Yeah, I've heard that.
The dark web is just so vast, and the freaking shit that you hear that.
Dude, you could get that's Big Lebowski shit. If you want a toe, you can get a fucking toe on the dark web.
Yeah, dude, I've gone on the dark web before just to look, and it's crazy as fuck.
They're coming for you, right?
No, they're not. I was anonymous.
They're coming for you.
Download the right things, and they're anonymous.
They're gonna be knocking at your door with the stairs.
It's been a while since I've gone on.
Really?
Because I have no reason to go. Like, I don't use it for anything. Like, I don't buy drugs off of it. I don't buy hitmen off of it.
Yeah, you just went on to see what.
Just went on to see what I could find, and it is scary.
Dude, what?
Like,
there you go, folks. He is our technical expert. Probably the only person I know that's been on the dark web. I don't go around asking that question, and I have fallen down some rabbit holes regarding facts about the dark web. I've never been on it, but you can get anything. You can fucking get anything. Anything.
Fake credit cards.
If I want you dead in a week,
a hitman.
you'd be dead in a week if I wanted, on the dark web.
Dude, it's like $200,000 for a political figure.
All right, enough about that. We don't need to talk about that anymore. That's deep.
It was scary. That's what I'm saying.
That is scary.
Everything over the computer. You don't even got to meet the guy.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, that's what I think about. I think about that a lot in terms of like Instagram, like just Instagram alone, of like whether it's models or like you like soccer. Like, say it's just a soccer account that posts soccer clips, like something like that. Like, the internet's completely taken away any interaction of knowing what's on the other side. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always reluctant because of that. I'm like reluctant to follow So if it's a account that just posts memes and funny ass videos, come on, like who doesn't want to see someone just rolling down a fucking field and getting hit by a hay bale and launched 20 feet in the air? But some of the ones that I know the people are kind of the face of it. I'm reluctant because when you see them, it's just like some people are assholes. Or like, for me, I like baseball, kind of like the soccer example for you. Say I follow a baseball account, I don't know who's running it, like, and I'm personally just all about kind of integrity and ethics and morals for the most part. I'm sure there's some people that know me out there listening that would just be like, "Fuck this douchebag." But that, like, the internet just takes that away. You could be the biggest asshole in the world, not really know anything about baseball, but just because you're on the internet, like, 10 hours a day, and, like, 8 hours more than any normal person, you can post these videos. I know a couple people, like, that own accounts like that, whether, whatever it may be, sports, memes, whatever. Thankfully, all the ones I know are good people, and it would be something that, like, me personally, I would follow, knowing them in good conscience. But you just don't know.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. The anonymity.
Anonymity?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah. I guess we could go with that one. It's crazy. You can be anyone on the internet. You can literally be anyone on the internet.
Another thing it's taught me is I take nothing at face value anymore. Nothing. And that probably came from listening to Rogan's podcast, but the way, how easy it is, if you know what you're doing, to obscure facts, take something out of context that someone said, misleading information, straight up false information, is fucking crazy. Fucking crazy. And that's why if I want to know something, if I truly want to know something that pertains to a part of my life, I will, like, I'm extensive in my research. It's not like I look up, are sweet potatoes good for you, and the first thing I see I'm going to go by. Like, no, let me cross-reference, do some more research, and internalize it. And also, bring in my, like, not just have them tell me. Like, let me use my conscience and my better judgment to decide what I think. Granted, I may not be nothing near an expert on the subject, but I think that's still a big thing to feel like, all right, the computer told me it's bad, so I'm not going to eat it. Like,
because, I completely agree. Like,
go ahead. Sorry.
Nah, everything that we see could obviously not be as it seems. Like, the food the food, like, from the food in the stores that says organic. Okay, it says organic, but, like, and I eat it. Is it really organic, or are they just saying it's organic?
Yeah, what's the loophole that makes it
that
like, you're able to qualify this?
Because they're obviously trying to just not giving you the healthiest thing.
Yeah, they want
Like,
the cheapest. They want to be able to make it cheap and sell it to you, and that's it. That's all they care about.
slap the organic on there for people who.
That's where high fructose corn syrup came from. That's the cheap. It's the cheapest way. It's more potent and concentrated than regular sugar. Excuse me. Excuse me again. And that's where it came from. It was easier to make, so they were just able to throw. That's how. What's the one? Like in the I think it was when the 80s when it started, or 70s maybe, when fat, fat was the bad thing. Everything was all of a sudden fat free.
Remember when cigarettes were healthy for you?
Yeah, like that. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden things were fat free and you could get anything fat free, but people didn't realize the reason it was still able to taste so good is because they just loaded it up with more sugar, which isn't, sugars are considered carbs. They're not considered fat, but you're still able to qualify it as fat free. So like I kind of look at everything the same way. I was listening to one today, an economist about Trump and talking about the unemployment number. And like the reason the unemployment number is what it is, I think it's like 4 or 5%, is because they stopped counting. What is it? They stopped counting people who stopped looking for jobs, I think. Something like that. But there's some way that like the unemployment number, if it's 4 or 5 now, it could be like 15 or 16, because they just construed the information to make the American you know what I mean? Like make it more palatable for you and buy into whatever propaganda it may be, which is the same way with the internet. If I'm reading an article about whatever it could be, name something, fucking Cheerios, like who's backing it? And what's the motivation for them to lean good or lean bad on it? And I think that all the time.
Have you ever watched? There's a John Oliver. He's on HBO. I like him a lot. He did a segment on. It was like new research states that this is good for you now, and it's based how easy it is to get something out with the label of new research states this, based because there's it has to go through very little loophole, through very little steps to get to that research. It's new research states is good for you. They do very little research actually, and they just say, oh, this new research, but if they did more, then you get more results. But they just went off basically the first results that they got, and they said, well, it's good for you now, so sell it.
Yeah, or in the grand scheme, the research may not even have been specifically about that.
And what you could find in your advanced research,
Yeah, another thing is when you do research, you don't do. I've learned this kind of as going to school for chemistry, going to school for engineering. You don't do one research project or one experiment. Experiment is that's the research. You don't do one experiment, get an answer, and then that's conclusive and it's over. It doesn't work like that because there's so many variables that play into things. The one I think about is, when people say meat is bad for you, red meat is bad for you, and you should only eat vegetables. They don't take into account. It's they'll go and they'll look at people who eat meat. Yes, they may be eating meat.
What else are they eating?
All you read on the website is people that eat meat are 30% more likely for heart disease and this and that and this and that. There weren't actual numbers, but I'm just throwing things out there. But people see that and it's oh, meat's bad. But they don't take into account where the meat's coming from, who's eating it, what else their diet looks like.
Family history.
Yeah. And I'm you can obscure evidence so easily but make it sound so palatable. It's ridiculous. And I think people are just,
if you believe it's true, it will be true.
Yeah, people are willy-nilly to just take the first thing they hear at face value, and as long as it is compatible to something I believe, then that's all I need to hear. You know what I mean? Where there's a couple documentaries about how meat's bad, and it's okay, well, tell us what else their diet looked like. Why are these heart problems? And like you could study someone who eats, because you can eat vegetarian and eat like shit. So like you could easily study someone who's a vegetarian but eats a great vegetarian diet, and then on the other side of the coin, like the person that's eating meat, they're eating meat from McDonald's, and their other meals are milkshakes and French fries and all this other bullshit.
That's the red
Obviously, they're gonna have more heart problems than the person that's eating a clean vegetarian diet.
Yeah.
But on your webpage and your 5-paragraph article that you read, all you see is people that eat meat, worse health problems. People that eat vegetables, better health problems. So it's like when you see, that's another part of it, is when you see research, like I've become more keen to certain like phrases and how certain things are worded to be like, that kind of seems like bullshit right there. You know what I mean? Like these researchers, to really do it correctly, you need massive. The experiments need to be with, like, whether it's people or whatever you're testing on, they need to be big. They need to be not just like 20 people, and then you need to do multiple studies too, not just one. Not one study with 20 people. That tells you barely
Very
anything.
little.
That's almost like correlation. And
Yeah.
you can't, like, causation and correlation don't pair. So that, like, I don't know, the internet is great in that way and it's bad in that way because people will just blindly believe whatever they want to believe.
Everything. You see that? What's that commercial? Everything on the internet is true.
Yeah, like, don't believe everything you see on the internet. It's
What is
all a
that?
lie. And then the quotes from Abraham Lincoln or some shit like that.
That is funny. Oh my god.
But yeah, it's tough. What do you make of all that? Where do you see that going with our generation, in our lifetime and beyond? Like with technology.
It could be our future, or it could be our downfall. You know, I read something. I watched a YouTube video yesterday. It said, humans are basically at a point where we're pretty much, we're indestructible. Our only, the only reason we could, have a mass extinction event, or just, literally end our own world based, is war or climate pollution, which both of humans could contribute to.
Or by our own accord.
Exactly. So, I think, with the internet now and the age of connectivity, the ability to...
It's good enunciation. Connectivity.
The ability to, see more... Because I don't believe for a second that... I think everything that we say is obviously heard. But I just think that's the world we live in. I just think everything is... Everyone's watching everything. At all times, you're being watched, in my opinion.
So
I'm not paranoid. It's not my paranoia. I'm not paranoid at all because I live life normally. I'm not always looking on my shoulder, but I just think with the day and age we live in, and it's obviously come out in the past with Snowden and shit like that the government was watching and listening, and that age is just so up in the air because it's been our privacy's been violated before, and everything just went back to normal because we obviously, no one's gonna just give up the internet. The internet is one of the greatest inventions of the 20th, if not the greatest invention of the 21st century.
Yeah.
The amount of information that has been passed over the internet, the amount of, like I said, the amount of connectivity it's included, there's wiring that connects Europe and the United States that runs along the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous. It's like 10,000, 12,000 miles of wiring. But that information.
Sharks fuck that shit up too.
They have to repair it too.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. That's one of the you make a lot of money doing that. A lot of money. But that connection just allows information. Wall Street is connected with the European bank and everything, and it's just that was impossible back then. You had to send a piece of paper to tell someone that you were buying stock or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now you just buy stock on your phone, and the guy up in New York gets it from right here at this table.
Yeah.
Or you can talk to your Swiss banker from your couch via a phone call, which is phones have been in existence for a long time, but you can call him.
You can FaceTime him.
You can FaceTime him.
Yeah.
Tell him to send you $250,000 because you have a Swiss bank account, and that and then you look at your phone, and you have $250,000.
As you're getting a phone call from somebody you're talking.
Exactly.
A FaceTime. You're
I'm getting
literally getting a
FaceTime.
FaceTime as we're talking about this. But no, I think going back to what you said about the privacy thing. I see exactly what you're saying. I don't think it's all being monitored, but every single day we live in this time and this day and age, every single day more things are being archived, recorded, connected than ever before in history. And like exactly what you said, that does make me paranoid. I don't walk around speaking in hushed tones, making sure no one's listening. It's just a fact. It's just a fact, and that's how the same way how trees are green.
Exactly.
It's not good. It's not bad to me. It just is what it is. But I agree completely. Things are just more connected than ever, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes in 50 or 100 years. Because like there's people that think there's going to be a point where people know everything.
I think that's a reason why most nuclear facilities still run floppy disks.
Really? I never knew that.
They don't want to be hacked. Because if for some reason, I think that's what happened. Maybe that might have happened in Japan. No, I think that just had a meltdown. But I think most nuclear facility, the older ones, they use floppy disks because they might be switching now because of increased security. But back hacking, they just didn't want to take the risk of being hacked, and where floppy disks were working, why change? So,
I mean, look at
it makes sense, dude. If you can hack a nuke facility and drop a nuke on New York, you eliminate New York.
Yeah, there you go. This is another thing I look at too a lot is the date.
Yeah.
So this one, May 26, 2016. The U.S. is still using floppy disks to run its nuclear program. There you go. I mean, you look at what happened with Russia in the last election. I know it's super controversial, whatever you believe, but whether they did or not, they're doing something. You know what I mean? Like, if they didn't do that in the election, okay.
Why did they bring it? Why is it this far?
Like, there's
That's
other
my
things
point.
they're doing. So everything, like you said, everything on the internet, it's not. If it's digital, someone
is creating it.
Someone is able to create it, one, and then some kid in his room somewhere is able to, that the government could pick up and hire, is able to access that, whatever it may be, which is crazy. I read one yesterday about some girl, some Russian, 20-some year old. They sent over here and they trained her, and she was getting close and getting close to politicians.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
You saw that?
Yeah,
getting close.
And there was
Congress.
Pictures with her of with Donald Trump Jr.
Yeah,
and that's my parents. My dad was like, "That's scary," and I was like,
and she was sorry. Let me finish it quick for people listening. She was offering, sex. Not. It sounds weird when you say offering sex, but you know what I mean. She was. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm drawing a blank. She was not enticing. She was. Fuck. But she was, you know what I mean? She was attracting officials to try to have
back channels,
have sex with them to get information from them and send it back to Russia. And that's whether you believe or no matter what you believe about the Trump election thing, this is a fact. That this
she
woman,
was over here.
She was trained. She was Russian, and they caught her. And they were the FBI was tracking her.
Yeah, they caught her. I told my dad was like, "That's scary," and I was like, "Yeah, I guess." But I mean, think about. You don't think the U.S. has a couple obvious?
Yeah.
The U.S. is obviously probably the most if not the most powerful nation on the planet. They got little snakes everywhere.
Yeah, and that comes back to it's just a fact. It to me, don't get me wrong, it's scary, but I don't walk in those circles. I'm not a politician. I don't have information that anyone wants to get me.
Exactly.
I want to do my podcast. I want to ride my dirt bike. I want to hang out with my friends, and I want to go to school.
Exactly.
So whether Russia or not was involved, like, it's corrupt. Okay, it's like they shouldn't be. But what am I gonna do about it? So it's like,
sucks.
to me, it's there you go. It sucks, but it is what it is. What are you gonna do? Russia's doing it to us, and just as likely Russia's doing it to us and the rest of the world, and just as likely we're doing it to Russia and the rest of the world too. So
Exactly.
that's also the whole thing with the Trump situation. Like, what do you make of that? The past three years with this whole presidency and Trump and whatnot.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even vote. I didn't want to vote for. I mean, I could have gone and voted for like one of the other candidates or some write-in or something, but I knew it was going to be between Hillary and Trump, and I didn't want either of them to be president, so I didn't even vote.
Yeah. So before we go any deeper, I don't care. You too.
I was registered to vote though.
Do you believe in the argument of if you don't vote, don't talk about it? Have you heard that before? Like, oh, you didn't vote, so don't stand here bitching about it.
Yeah, but I also.
I mean, spoiler alert, we're still going to talk about it.
Yeah,
but
I don't think I've ever heard that before, or had anyone ever say that to me.
Really?
Because I stay away from politics overall anyway,
yeah,
unless we're having unless someone brings it up and starts talking and asking a question
with
about
someone like you and I, where I know you, and I know you're not going to go off the wall over something I say. Like
no,
that, you know what I mean?
Because I don't get into politics.
Yeah,
like, I could not put myself on the Democrat or Republican side, because I honestly see both viewpoint. I honestly look at both of their viewpoints, and I kind of look at both. I agree with both on each side, and I disagree with both on each side.
Yeah.
So and that has happened over the last. Because this was my first election I could vote in, because I wasn't old enough in the Obama one. So, I was more involved, I guess you could say, a little bit. I was still trying to stay out of it. I came to the conclusion I didn't want either of them to be president. So when election day came, didn't go and vote. I was surprised when Trump won. I thought Hillary was going to win it, but I also, when I saw those on that thing pop up on the internet, like not my president, I was like, that just causes animosity and problems. Like, he got voted in, live with it. You can either support him, or you can, help, cripple the country by, failing him, I guess you could say, or hindering him by doing this hashtag not my president. And he got voted. If Russia meddled, okay, but he got voted.
That's the shit we can't have, in my opinion. Going back, I'll give my little word in terms of the argument of if you didn't vote, don't talk about it. You don't have your right. I think there's merit to a little bit of both sides, but like you said, there's two people. Let's be honest here. There was multiple candidates. There wasn't just Hillary and Trump. But come on, Hillary or Trump was gonna win. Period. So, that's where I don't believe in the argument. If you didn't vote, don't talk about it. No, I would have voted if it would have meant anything.
Exactly.
You should still participate in the government, but what, Trump or Hillary was gonna win. Period. Okay. Period. You spending your time to go out through the process, vote, and do everything you needed to do to vote for Jill Stein or whoever wouldn't have made a difference. So that's where I find it hard to side with the agreement of if you didn't vote, don't talk about it. Because no, it's a team. And right now, Trump just happens to be the captain of this team. Mm-hmm. Just because you didn't vote the captain of this team on doesn't mean you're not a part of this team.
Exactly.
That we call the United States of America.
Exactly.
And like you said, this whole "not my president" thing, that is just absolutely ludicrous, and it's carried into his presidency and what you see with all these, Trump and Coney and all these allegations with Stormy Daniels and what's going on with Russia and this involvement. It's it goes back. If you think of it as a team, and Trump is our captain. He's the president of this team. We want people are missing out on the blatant fact that this team, your main interest should be to succeed. Whether I'm not okay. Let me start by or not start, but let me say what you think of Trump. I don't care. What I think of Trump, I don't think he's good. I don't think he's bad. I think he's there. Okay? It's like I said, it's the fact that you go outside and the leaves on trees are green. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it, so just live with it. That's how I look at it, okay? People are probably going to listen and think I sided with Trump or sided with Hillary, but I don't give a shit. The fact of the matter is I don't care. With that being said, nothing's getting done by hindering what the captain of our team is doing and trying to just make his job as hard as possible, okay? His job as being the president, no matter who you are, is already hard enough as possible.
Oh, yeah.
So then to come in and fucking bombard him with all this bullshit about, affairs and tapes being recorded.
When he wasn't even, really involved in the politics. Like, he was a billionaire, and he had a hookup with a porn star.
What the fuck do you people?
They're just making issues. They just want attention.
What do you expect? Lifelong politicians have come to be the president, and scandals erect for them. And they're lifelong politicians, so they know to upkeep that image. This man wasn't planned to be a politician until whatever it was 5 years ago. And as the captain of our team, if you're on a basketball team and you don't like your coach or your captain, okay, that's fine. You don't have to like it. But calling him out the fact that he had an affair isn't going to help you win a basketball game. It's only going to make it worse. So I think whether it was Hillary and it was the email scandal, which it could have easily been, or whether it's Trump and it's Stormy Daniels and all this other bullshit, that doesn't help. The fact of the matter is this country needs help in other things besides the fact that the president may or may not have had an affair with a porn star.
Exactly.
Get the fuck over it, people. He is your president for the next 4 years. This not my president thing, guess what? He's your fucking president. That's how it works. If you break an ankle, you either just sit there and bitch about it for 4 weeks, a la 4 years, until it heals up, and then you kind of bitch a little more, or you just say it's broken. We're gonna do the best we can with what we have and move forward. And that's what pisses me off. People don't realize that, especially not my president. The one day I was back at school, I was in the elevator, going to a class, and I was looking over, and on some girl's backpack she had a pin, and the pin was just a date, and it was 1/21/21 or something like that, whatever it is. I was like, what the fuck is that? And I looked it up. That's the day that if Trump doesn't get reelected, that the next president will be inaugurated in office. And I'm just like, this is the shit that's not helping anything. Let's look at policy. Let's look at the economics. Let's look at the shit that's going to actually make this country run better instead of make it run worse.
And it isn't really because, the general populace doesn't really have a lot of say in the big government, but it's more or less the hate coming from the politicians that make the laws for us and advance the country.
Yeah. They're
the ones that are the real issue of, the Democrats, all the Democrats, absolutely hate Trump, some of them even got on board with the not my president shit.
Yeah.
And there's even some Republicans that hate Trump, that think he shouldn't have been elected president. And that, like you said, that just doesn't fucking help, All it does is hinder. If you support the guy that's there, even if you don't like him, and, the country could get better.
Yeah.
And if it gets worse, that's why he's only in there for 4 years. The next guy comes in, and hopefully the people who voted the guy in who did worse learn their lesson and vote someone in the next time who they, do a little bit more research on, and, vote in the proper guy.
Let's hope that's what it is. Let's hope, one, looking at the past, the reason he got elected was a symptom of people being fed up, which I think it was. I think that's what it comes down to. I think him being elected was a symptom of the country just being fed up with having politicians backed by big companies and big corporations and just being straight up lied to.
And then they
So I think, and then Trump got voted in. I think that's how it ended up. So now we're at the point where we go like a couple ways. We either look and we go, okay, we got sick. This you could look at it as this is our sickness. Now let's look at it, learn from it, and get better and do it better next time. Or Trump could end up back in, and we could have another 4 years of Trump, good or bad, however you view it. But it just pisses me off. Like, the fucking people want to get pissed off about it. No, like it's politics. Like you said, it's hard to have a say. I'm not gonna say people don't have a say, because they do. And believe it or not, no matter what you want to believe, the principles that this government were founded on were for the fact that the people rule it. Mm-hmm. It's just the fact of you need enough of those people to make that difference. You know what I mean? You and I, just because we have grievances about the whole thing, aren't going to change it. We need thousands, a couple thousand, at least, a couple million people to make a difference. But that doesn't mean you can't make a difference or that the control isn't in the people's side. But, like, Washington and politics has just become this, like, fucking high school of just, like, ooh, like, we got to click here and look at this. Like, instead of bettering this ourselves, we're just gonna shit talk that lunch table over there, mm-hmm, instead of getting better here.
Yeah,
and that's all it is. And then obviously you have big corporations and lobbyists and all that bullshit buying in and influencing votes, which needs to be gone. But the whole thing, like you said, not my president. No, he fucking is. He fucking is. What do you expect? Like, it just pisses me off that people are willing to focus more on bad than improving for the better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's how people live their lives too.
Yeah. Just.
Bless you.
Thank you.
I think that was our first sneeze on the Not for TV podcast. Congratulations.
Right, thank you. Where's my? I'd like a cookie.
I don't know. Sorry, we're out. Fresh out. I can get you a beer. You want a beer?
No, I'm good. That's like, because weed is. I was looking at there was like an article on Snapchat. I think weed is legal in District of Columbia, the capital, mm-hmm, which is like separate. So like it's kind of weird, crazy to think about. But the big government that sits in Washington, like the District of Columbia, doesn't run the District of Columbia. They there's a separate little town mayor and stuff, like like a small government, like a local government.
I see what you're saying.
Because that's the Washington D.C.'s in Maryland, right?
Yeah. I think it's between Baltimore. Not Baltimore. Baltimore's in Maryland. Washington, D.C. is, what are the two states? Maryland and Delaware, maybe? We're going to fact check this. But I see what you're saying, as in, like, if there was
yeah.
That just shows how geographically inclined we are.
But, so inside the Washington, D.C., which is the capital of the country, they don't run that little government in there. But the District of Columbia, you can have up to an ounce on you and grow up to 6 plants in your house.
Yeah.
But weed is still illegal federally
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's like saying that if, let's say, the state or the nation's capital was in Philadelphia, you would have the president stationed in Philadelphia, and that would be the government, but there would still be a mayor of Philadelphia.
Exactly.
It's fucking that, like, look at that and tell me it makes any sense. Like, not that specifically, not the map, but the fact that it can be legal there, but
that just boggles my mind beyond belief.
The fact that weed is even legal,
and that comes back to the lobbyists and activists. Big farms don't want weed legal like that. Weed. I honestly believe weed could bring the country out of its $18 trillion debt. Not completely out, but it could bring it out. weed is an unbelievable cash crop, and if the government got involved, make they could make trillions.
I don't disagree.
They can like the
Well,
value of the weed market in California is like $7 billion. It's projected.
yeah, I don't get me wrong. That's not gonna be the fucking one cure all to our problems. But there's people. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. I don't know. Legal marijuana could be a $5 billion boom to California's economy. There
Yeah.
you go. So
By 2050, they predict the entire weed in the United States, the entire like weed economy could be valued at $50 billion,
yeah,
and that's if it doesn't become legal federally. But it could be $1 trillion net farm. It could be $1 trillion thing.
I look at that as like a millennial thing. I really just truly think that right now in our government you have a bunch of old heads. Not
Yeah,
our
our
parents, but yeah,
Our Attorney General Jeff Sessions thinks weed is like
the devil.
literally the devil, like
Yeah.
right there with heroin and cocaine and
And I think it's like our parents. Don't get me wrong. I'm speaking in generalities. It's not all our parents because I know fucking a bunch of people whose parents smoke, but I think it's just that like our parents grew up in the generation when it was the devil, and some of them just aren't changing that mindset. But the millennial generation, from what I've seen, like all of my friends, all of the people I hang around with, they even if they don't smoke, like
they're okay with it.
like how many yeah, exactly. How many millennials do you know that either haven't smoked at all, and then two, or like even if you just like were outside and rolled up a J, would be like bugging out about it.
None.
So I think if it doesn't happen in the near future, I think just kind of the passing of the torch from that generation that's running politics now to our generation is going to change it, because like it's ridiculous. I think like you said about Jeff Sessions, part of the problem is no one's ever had any fucking experience with it. Like when you smoke weed, how are you going to talk about something and
Never
like
try it.
you fucking played soccer your whole life? How am I? It'd be like if someone smoked weed their whole life, no problems, held a good job, held a good earnings, family, all this, and then someone comes in and it's just like, no, you're doing it all wrong. And then it's the same thing with like if I tried to tell you how to play soccer, I don't know the
Exactly.
first fucking thing.
Tell you how to play baseball.
Yeah, I don't know the
Exactly.
first fucking thing about soccer, and you don't know the first fucking thing about baseball. So it's like, what? You have people, though, that have the power just because they have this ideal in their head that that's how it's going to be. No. Like, I think, one, the weed thing could be solved if everyone just smoked a joint, and then a lot of other stuff on top of that could be solved if everyone just smoked a fucking joint. And it pisses me off that that's how you have dictating it. It's like you look at it like it is heroin or it is crack or it is an opioid.
It is
It's
technically.
like,
Marijuana is a Schedule 1 drug.
yeah, and
It's right up there with heroin, crack, and all that shit.
But yeah, like smoke a joint and tell me it doesn't. Okay, it may make you more paranoid, which at times might.
But
be,
I also believe that no matter what drug you do, you make your own high. Like you create. Like if you do marijuana and you're just gonna sit there and be like, well, I'm high now. Like if you just sit there and like enjoy it,
No
like,
doubt.
take it in, not think about it, like overthink it and think like, well, I'm high now. Like I'm gonna get in trouble because I'm high. Just like obviously for smoke in a safe place for your first time
Yeah,
with people who have done it before, and just enjoy it
yeah,
and just take
no
it
doubt.
in. Don't think about it too much. Don't overthink it.
I actually heard something interesting about that kind of goes off that note. Like, I was listening to something, and it was like, if you have this idea in your head that when you smoke, you're the typical what we see as a stoner. You're just gonna laze off. You're gonna be a fat fuck. You're gonna munch out, and you're just gonna watch TV on the couch.
Then that's what you're gonna be.
Then that exactly. Don't get me wrong. Inherently, the chemical reactions that happen in your body are going to produce something which are different for everyone. But I'm talking besides that. Like, if you think in your head, oh, I'm just going to fucking smoke, and I'm just going to laze out, I'm going to eat chips, and I'm going to be a douchebag. Okay, then more than likely that's going to happen. But
And then stereotypes.
But if you know people, I'm sure you know people that it's like, when I smoke, man, I'm more productive than anything. I get all my shit done,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how that's how I do it. And like they have that idea, so then their perception of what's gonna happen becomes their reality, and like that's part of it. But I think I think any inanimate object, I've talked about this, is neither inherently good nor bad. It just is what it is, and how we perceive it is what we make of it. But I think marijuana, even with how humans interact with it, and just from what I've seen, it's like the net score is more good than bad. Like, maybe you should be a little paranoid about, like, if you smoke, feeling like a lazy piece of shit, or feeling
Exactly.
like, I think the whole parents maybe getting on you about smoking it is a completely different subject, but like it expands your mind and makes you look at like things different ways. And I don't know, it's tough to, it's ridiculous, it's fucking ridiculous. Alcohol, just see like how much worse alcohol is for you than marijuana, and but yet one's legal. Then you got cigarette. You can go out, you could right now buy a handle or a bottle of vodka and a pack of cigarettes, and you could sit here in your basement and slowly kill yourself. Or you could illegally smoke a joint, or go out and buy some weed, and on your way home get pulled over and put in jail because you wanted to smoke a joint and mellow out.
Yeah, exactly. It's just one's illegal, one's not. So there's that false pretense, and it's just terrible.
It's ridiculous. And like I said, I think that's gonna be, with the passing of the torch into the millennial generation. Like, I think we're gonna get some politicians in that have smoked and they understand it, and two, even if they haven't smoked, because like I said, there's people that are, I know, I've been around people that are smoking, and it, like, if I'm not smoking, it's just like, all right, go ahead, just go ahead. I know you're not gonna. I know you might like. I know you're not just gonna fucking bounce off the wall, pull out a knife, and try to stab me in my heart. Obviously, unless you're prone to psychotic breaks. But like, weed doesn't do. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
This is your brain on drugs.
It's. I hate it.
Yeah. It's tough, but I think too. Inevitably, there are people that, as benign as it is, there's people that abuse it. There's people that abuse everything. Some people just have trouble living and being in, like, obviously reality's whatever you make it, but let's say that let's just say, for the sake of argument, being completely sober is reality. Some people just have trouble with that, which I think is wrong. You know what I mean? Whether it's alcohol, marijuana, whatever. I know so many people that just want to fucking drink 4 or 5 nights a week, functioning
Alcoholics.
they work their asses off, but it's like, man, get a fucking hobby.
Yeah.
Get something you're passionate about. People are missing that. Like, get something we've talked about this too. Like, get something you're passionate and you feel about, that when you go and do it. When I go out and I ride my dirt bike, I could have a beer. I'll enjoy it, but I don't need it, man. I don't fucking need it. I'm on something I love, and the rush I get from riding my dirt bike is more than anything I would ever get from drinking or smoking a doobie or whatever. And like, people don't have that, so they would rather just fucking drink, and it disgusts me. They're like, so many people nowadays are lazy, and they don't want to have a hobby. They don't want to work hard for what
They don't want to do anything. Yeah. It sucks because no one's gonna give you anything.
No.
And sometimes shit falls in your lap, but more often than not, it doesn't. Way more often than not, and it's not going to. And you got to work for what you want.
Yeah.
I
saw a video today on YouTube about this homeless guy. I think the YouTube channel is actually run by a guy that used to be homeless, and now I think kind of his thing is just being, trying to give back and help out. But the video was a homeless guy in LA, and this guy was the most candid guy about his heroin addiction. And I think if more people had the attitude that this guy had, we'd be in a better place. Because he was homeless, and he goes, listen, man, I'm here because of heroin. He said, I had a job, I had an apartment, I had a girlfriend, I had cats, and I had dogs, and I was making money. He goes, I gave it all up for heroin. And this guy, like, speaking as genuine as someone could be, you can literally see he's just dressed in old-ass drab clothing. and he's being honest, which is the best part of the video. I really recommend for people to check it out. But he's like, he said, if there's, he goes, that just shows you how how desirable the high is, because I gave all that. He literally said, I gave all that up to be on the streets and smoke heroin, or not smoke, but shoot up heroin and be high on heroin. And he goes, I know that if I want to get over it, I'll get over it. But he was being so, the thing that touched me was he was being so
accepting with it,
so and truthful of like, listen, I'm here because of heroin. I'm not going to deny it. And if I want to get out of it, I know I can. But he said, right now, I'm just enjoying that. I'm enjoying getting high on heroin because it's like nothing I've ever felt in my life.
That's what a lot of people say.
Yeah, and then when he decides that, like, okay, it's time to, like, stop this fucking bullshit and live as a homeless motherfucker, then, like, he said, I'll be back. He goes, I'll be right back. I'll have a job. I'll have an apartment. Which, you can be skeptical. But the fact that this guy spoke so candidly about it was amazing, because people, I'm sure that you see in your life and that I see in my life, they're not willing to talk like that about their problems. Like, if it's like, dude,
especially those hard drugs like that.
Yeah.
Like marijuana is, okay, if everyone smokes marijuana, but when someone has like a heroin addiction or a hard drug addiction, it's a lot harder to get someone to come out about that.
Even softer stuff, man. Like I guess alcohol. I don't know if alcohol would be considered hard, or cigarettes. Like, when, like, there's so many people I know, when it's, if you want to talk to them, they're all of a sudden putting up this barrier and they're like, "Fuck off, man! Like, let me live my own life." And no, you need to have the mentality of that.
You need to look at what you're doing to
yourself. You need to have that. Excuse me, that mentality of the homeless guy of like, look at what you're doing to yourself and accept it, and don't put it. The problem arises when you just push it off into the corner, sweep it under the rug, and don't think about it. And that's what so many people I've seen have done, and they just, like, they'll be like, oh. I've talked to people, I'm like, man, you need to stop drinking. Like, you put the fucking bottle down. And they give me this look in their eyes like a lost puppy.
Who are you to tell me?
Like, deep down almost, they know, but at the same time, they don't know of, like...
They don't want to accept it.
Yeah.
Take advice.
Yeah. And, like, don't get me wrong. I've been in my holes. I've been on my benders. I've done this. I've done that. So I'm not here on a high ground, some moral pedestal or anything. I would never speak down like that to anybody. But when you're not willing to accept the reality of your situation, then that's
there's no help, and like there's no more help.
The only help is within yourself.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna say there's no help for anybody, but you're not gonna solve the problem by ignoring it. You need to face that fucking.
You need to accept it.
You need to face that monster face to face and just tackle it with whatever strength, whatever you have to get over it.
Completely agree.
Yes, sir. Well, Ryan's yawning.